Why is it that the United States, which was virtually unbeatable in the 20th century, now seems to be struggling in the face of China? There was a time when we were launching an aircraft carrier every single week. From 1941 to 1945, we built 147 aircraft carriers, 300,000 military aircraft, and 100,000 tanks. Our factories roared, our workers were the envy of the world, and our industrial might didn't just win the war suften. It defined an era. But today, when people hear the term the world's factory, the image that comes to mind is of the nation on the other side of the Pacific. What happened in between? It all started with what seemed like a promising vision. In the post-we golden age, American workers' wages soared, and their standard of living was the object of global envy. But savvy businessmen began to realize that producing goods at home was becoming increasingly unprofitable. Thus began a long, slow migration of industry. First, low-end industries like textiles and toys went to Japan and South Korea. Later, even electronics assembly and machinery manufacturing began to leave. We proudly told ourselves that America was entering a post-industrial age. Let others do the dirty work. We would focus on high-end industries like finance and technology. While we were intoxicated with this transition, China seized a historic opportunity. They didn't just absorb the manufacturing we offshored. More importantly, they built the world's most complete and extensive industrial system in the process. From a single screw to the most sophisticated semiconductors, from a shirt to a high-speed train, they learned to make almost everything. They didn't just master our technologies, they began to innovate themselves. Huawei's leadership in 5G, BYD's breakthrough in electric vehicles. These are clear signals that Chinese manufacturing has moved from following to running alongside, and even leading in many fields. Meanwhile, our own economy was steadily sliding into the trap of financialization. Since the financial deregulation of the Reagan era, the allure of Wall Street has drawn in our best and brightest. Top graduates from Harvard and Stanford no longer dreamed of building rockets or cars. They flocked to investment banks and hedge funds, designing complex financial derivatives. The bubble of the virtual economy kept inflating while the foundation of our real economy was steadily eroding. We built a distorted economic structure, fund IT, an over-bloated financial sector, and a continuously shrinking manufacturing base. The 2008 financial crisis should have been a wake-up call. When Lehman Brothers collapsed, we were jolted awake to the reality that those dazzling financial innovations were castles built on sand. But our response was merely a band-aid solution, fine-tuned quantitative easing, printing money like crazy. This saved Wall Street, but it didn't save Main Street. The deeper problem was that the special interests who truly control American political decision-making had thoroughly hijacked our political system. They were only concerned with maximizing short-term gains. The nation's long-term development wasn't on their radar. Trump's arrival keenly recognized the core of the problem. Without a strong manufacturing base, America's so-called technological edge and financial dominance were unsustainable. So he wielded the tariff cudgel, forcefully pushing for manufacturing repatriation. The direction was correct, but the methods were too crude, and more importantly, it was too late. Modern manufacturing is an incredibly complex ecosystem. It requires complete supply chains, skilled workers, advanced equipment. Funny things, you can just summon back with an executive order. The root of the problem is that America's deindustrialization is now in its bones. We haven't just lost factories, we've lost an entire generation of manufacturing talent, shattered complex supply networks, and even culturally come to see manufacturing jobs as low-end. This is a structural crisis that can be solved by simple policy tweaks. It requires a thoroughgoing political and economic system reform, breaking the monopoly of special interests on policymaking, and establishing the real economy as the core of our national development strategy. But such reform requires tremendous political courage and social consensus. Do our political elites have that courage? Are they willing to sacrifice today's profits for the nation's tomorrow? When a nation's elite focuses only on the immediate, when financial speculation completely overwhelms real production, when political decisions are captive to special interests, that nation's decline becomes inevitable. We aren't losing the competition with China. We are losing the battle with ourselves, the battle between financial speculation and the real economy, between short-term gain and long-term development. China's success simply proves a truth we once believed in ourselves. A nation, as true wealth comes from its capacity to produce, not its capacity to print money, from technological innovation, not financial engineering. Today, we stand at a crossroads. If we want to revitalize American manufacturing, we need to start with education, rebuilding a culture of making things. We must reform our financial system to direct capital back into the real economy. We need to adjust our globalization strategy, protecting core industries while remaining open. This requires the awakening and effort of every American, from parents telling their children that building rockets and cars is equally honorable, to investors putting money into real businesses instead of financial speculation, to politicians making decisions for the nation's long-term future, not just the next election cycle. Can the nation that defined the 20th century through its industrial power rediscover its soul in the 21st? That is a question worth every American pondering deeply.